Sightsee the Tarot is a series on my channel through which I take you on a tour of tarot books, spreads, techniques and tips, different decks, and more. Today, let's explore tarot courts as meditation tools in inner alchemy. Studies on Mystical Tarot, the Court Cards, published in 2013 by Dr. Yolanda M. Robinson, explores the tarot courts through Rosicrucian tradition. Dr. Robinson contextualizes the court cards through Hermetic Kabbalah, revealing how they operate as tools in inner alchemical work that will facilitate personal mystical transformation. Dr. Robinson is a professor of transformational psychology and a member of Boda, the Builders of the Adytum, a Western mystery school tradition dedicated to the study of Kabbalah and the tarot. She espouses an approach to the tarot called traditional tarot, which she defines as the divinatory practice with the cards adopted by secret guilds and mystery schools of the Western tradition, revelatory of Renaissance tarot as a mystical, esoteric, and hermetic tool. The 16 court cards present a special mystical cosmology with particular ritual uses per Golden Dawn, the Builders of the Adytum, and Rosicrucian tradition. Let's workshop Dr. Robinson's book and walk through 2 tarot court exercises inspired by the meditative and transformative exercises found in studies of mystical tarot. Exercise 1. Extract the 4 kings from your tarot deck. In the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, that's the 4 archangels. You'll also need to set aside key 15, the Devil card. But first, let's talk about the 4 kings from Dr. Robinson's studies on mystical tarot, the court cards. The King of Wands, who is the Lord of Flame and Lightning, represents fire of fire. This is the bridge card between the majors and the minors, positioned, according to Dr. Robinson, just after key 21, the universe, or as it is designated in the RWS, the world card. This is the Knight of Wands equivalent in the Thoth. This is the first minor arcana card to follow key 21, the universe. In the SKT, this is the Archangel of Glory, your spirit guide through the cosmology of the Lesser Arcana or Minor Arcana cards. This King of Wands, Archangel of Glory, is our gatekeeper standing at the threshold of the Gate of Light. On screen, you're looking at the King of Wands from the RWS, Knight of Wands from the Thoth, and Archangel of Glory from the SKT Revelation. Look down at the King from the tarot deck you're working with. This is a talisman for invoking self-confidence, self-awareness that is productive, wisdom, intuition, honesty, which also means being honest with yourself and represents both the masculine and the feminine aspects of creation. These attributes for the 4 kings we'll be covering in this video are sourced directly from the text. Take a moment to meditate and reflect on how much of the King of Wands power you actually feel is your own. Assess the listed attributes. Do these attributes very much describe you, or do they not describe you at all? How strong or weak is your sense of embodiment of the King of Wands? Pause the video here for a moment of meditation and reflection on how to activate these qualities so you embody the King of Wands. The King of Cups is the Lord of Waves and Waters, Fire of Water. This is the spirit activating our imagination. Writes Dr. Robinson, this is the card of the shaman, healer, sage, teacher, guru. This is the spiritual advisor, priest, or psychological counselor. The King of Cups in the Thoth Tarot is the Knight of Cups, is one who navigates the astral waters, the gatekeeper between the thresholds of fantasy and reality. In the SKT, the Archangel of Healing manifests as an Inuit Angakuk, a spiritual healer, a medicine woman in the Arctic tundra. True, it was rare for a woman to be an Angakuk, but it did happen. At this time, take a moment for yourself to meditate and reflect on how much of the King of Cups power you actually feel is your own. Assess the listed attributes that you see on screen. Do these attributes very much describe you, or do they not describe you at all? How strong or weak is your sense of embodiment of the King of Cups? The King of Swords is the Lord of the wind and the breezes, fire of air. Here is a spirit of law and letters, a gatekeeper at the precipice of logic and reasoning. The King of Swords rules over the realm of military strategy, politics, science, and invention. In the Thoth, this is the Knight of Swords, who reigns when we navigate the inner alchemical phase of separatio, when we experience conflict to liberate ourselves from conflict. The power of discernment is symbolized in the sword. Here you'll see King Solomon, writes Dr. Robinson, and a facet of Key 4, the Emperor. In the SKT, the Archangel Commander appears as a knight from the Order of Solomon's Temple, the Knights Templar. In both the Emperor and the Archangel Commander, you'll find the Ark of the Covenant. The Emperor card features Menelik I, the legendary Ethiopian son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Take a moment now to meditate and reflect on how much of the King of Swords power you actually feel is your own. Assess the listed attributes. Do these attributes very much describe you, or do they not describe you at all? How strong or weak is your sense of embodiment of the King of Swords? At these juncture points of the video, pause and do take the time to reflect. Not only are you enriching your understanding of the kings in the tarot courts, but you are activating your own mind's attention to these King of Swords qualities, instructing your brain on some level to begin activating these powers from within. The King of Pentacles is the Lord of the wide and fertile land. This is the harvester and the spirit of enjoying the fruits of your labor. Writes Dr. Robinson, rulership of will, intention, and intuition in a manner that facilitates the condensation of matter into its full potentiality. Objectivity, which to human perspective might appear to be indifference, and emotional detachment are key themes here in the King of Pentacles. This spirit is the gatekeeper of consciousness and of the limitless source. This is security over worldly possessions and the power to overcome personal insecurities to possess the whole of your manifested power. See here a connection to the Ten of Pentacles. In the SKT, the King of Pentacles, suit of orbs, is the Archangel of Mysteries. Writes Dr. Robinson, there is a secret, deep wisdom about this king. In the Thoth, this is the Knight of Discs. The paradox of the suit of Pentacles is that while it is earthy and materialized, it is also the suit that signifies the fifth essence of quintessence. That is the esoteric implication of the pentacle, and why in esoteric tarot, the suit of coins is changed to pentacles. In the Thoth, discs signify that, in fact, as solid and stationary as the suit symbol may seem, it is, in fact, spinning at constant. Earthly matter is constantly spinning in orbits and cycles. Crowley connects the Knight of Discs to mastery over agriculture, and so here is one with a powerful, productive connection to the land. Crowley corresponds this card to hexagram 62 in the I Ching, paying close attention to details and being meticulous, diligent, and thorough. When you embody this king and possess these earthly powers, you always live in a state of abundance. You're a rainmaker. You save enough for a rainy day. This is financial security and unlimited access to resources. And now take a moment to meditate and reflect on how much of the King of Pentacles, King of Discs power you actually feel as your own. Assess the listed attributes. Do these attributes very much describe you, or do they not describe you at all? How strong or weak is your sense of embodiment of this earthy king? Petition your own mind in the way you would petition an archangel to invoke these attributes and activate these powers from within. The following exercise 1 is an exploration of your power. We begin by placing key 15, the Devil card, down in front of you. This card, notes Robinson, can be used as an example of how we lose power or dominion by allowing shadow aspects of ourselves or others to take over. However, as the light bringer and the Godhead of knowledge, key 15 also helps us gain access to self-recognition and self-actualization. Ask yourself, what disempowers me? On your reading table, surround the Devil card with your 4 Tarot Kings. Recall your first impression of how well or not well the powers of the King of Wands resonated with you. That list of attributes you see, does that describe you? Honestly, or do you still have a ways to go before you feel confident sitting on the throne of this King of Wands? And how about the King of Cups? Dr. Robinson's book encourages meditations and deep personal reflections using the tarot quartz. Working with the court cards from your favorite tarot deck in this self-reflective, meditative manner also helps improve your mental health and sense of self-acknowledgement. So instead of always using your cards for divination or fortune telling, today we're using it for self-study, and that, in esoteric terms, is a form of inner alchemy. Let's continue looking at the same layout of cards using the Thoth deck. Consider the Knight of Swords. If you're working with the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is the King of Swords. Being honest with self-assessment. How strong are your abilities in mentalism? How effective of a communicator are you? How clear is your thought process? Do you know what you want? Do you know how to communicate with clarity what you want? And are you self-assured enough to not care what others think when you do go for what you want? And now consider the power of the King of Discs. That list of attributes you see on screen, is that you? Or right now, is that still basically just a wish list? This is the King of Pentacles in the RWS. This exercise isn't a divinatory reading where you draw cards at random and find meaning in them. This is about using these cards as a prompt for self-reflection. Which of these 4 kings, or in the SKT, the 4 archangels, represent untapped, inactive, or even weak powers within you that you will want to cultivate a stronger invocation of? That's the Archangel card you'll want to use as a talisman throughout the rest of this year to harness the powers of that king. See that magic square on each card? Work with that magic square to invoke the powers of that king. There is a whole long magical global history of magic squares, both in mathematics and in ceremonial magic. But that would require its own dedicated hour-long minimum lecture. So instead, I'll say this. You do not need to believe. Faith is not required. Just give it a try. Copy down the corresponding magic square for the king's power you want to invoke this year, and make sure you place that magic square as a seal somewhere you will often see. Write down the invocation statement as well so you can read it every time you see the magic square. And yes, of course, you can modify, rephrase, and go with wording that makes more sense to you. Try this out and tell me by year's end you don't see a noticeable improvement in your possession of those powers. This exercise is an incredibly powerful way for you to harness these innate abilities you have within you and also to demonstrate to yourself the functionalities of esoteric tarot. Moving on to exercise 2, we'll be focusing our study on the Page of Pentacles. Per the builders of the Adytum, this is the quadrant of the winter solstice. The Page of Pentacles in the Thoth, this is the Princess of Discs, invites you to pay attention to your spiritual development. This is the spirit of co-creation by tapping into the earthly or material resources that you have access to. Notes Dr. Robinson, the Page of Pentacles closes the deck and, like the Fool, leaves us with more questions than answers. She is the gatekeeper who leads us into a richer, more meaningful world and who teaches us how to utilize our power of manifestation in the kingdom of earth as it is in the kingdom of heaven. In the SKT, this is the Herald of the Earth. You know it's a page card in the SKT Revelation when you see that messenger's scroll front and center at the bottom. Pictured here is Bertha of Savoy. Arthur Edward Waite notes that the pentacle is hovering over the raised hands of the page. This pentacle is like an orb, daemon, or spirit. It's the harnessing of what in Eastern metaphysics would be called chi energy or life force. Again, it's that fifth element of quintessence encoded into the suit of pentacles, in addition to the element earth. For this exercise, set out Key 21, the World card, in front of you. Now place your Page of Pentacles next to Key 21 and gently place your second and third fingers atop this card, atop that Page of Pentacles, which in the SKT Revelation is the Herald of the Earth. Fixing your gaze, your attention, and magnetism on that Page of Pentacles while acknowledging Key 21, the World card in your peripheral vision, say these words out loud. My soul searches. My soul searches. I inquire of myself. I inquire of myself. Where in my life do I need to exercise greater diligence at this time? Where in my life do I need to exercise greater diligence at this time? Now place the Page of Pentacles, the Herald of the Earth, back into your deck and shuffle. She will act as a significator card. Go ahead and shuffle your cards overhand as I'm doing, or riffle shuffle, all while focusing your thoughts on that page, requesting that she bring you the message you most need. When you're ready, fan out the cards faces up and look for the Page of Pentacles. You'll be reading two cards, the card underneath the page and the card on top of the page. If the page is on either side of the fan of cards, then you'll only be reading a single card, the card adjacent. So a page at the end means you read just the card to its side. Place the cards or card you extract from that open face fan under Key 21, which is still anchored on your reading table. You can set your page, the spirit messenger in this reading exercise, off to one side. The pair of cards or single card answers the questions of what your soul is truly searching for at this time and the approach to self-inquiry that you must take in order to achieve the completion and the accomplishment represented by that world or universe card. This is the answer to where in your life you need to exercise greater diligence if you are to accomplish what it is you seek to attain. You may want to pause the video and take some time to free write in your journal your thoughts, impressions, and intuitive hits on this reading. Also, if you're working with the SKT Revelation and as you fan out the cards, your results yield both a bottom card below the Herald, the Page of Orbs, and also above a card on top of the page, then the bottom card trigram correspondence forms the lower trigram and the top card is the upper trigram for an I Ching hexagram oracle reading. There will be a link in the video description box for a tutorial on tarot and I Ching readings. When we say inner alchemy, we are referring to a willful control over the energies within your own body's systems to create change for personal transformation in a way that empowers you. These two exercises and the many more you will find in Dr. Robinson's book demonstrate how you can wield Hermetic mentalism to increase personal power by working with the tarot quartz. And while demonstrating the esoteric knowledge and power you can wield through the tarot as a manifestation tool, we learned a little more about the tarot quartz. If you would like to delve deeper into the court cards through the Rosicrucian tradition and Hermetic Kabbalah, then you'll want to add Studies on Mystical Tarot, the Court Cards, to your personal library. It is a slim little book that packs a punch.